What's up YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. This is Javion Duncan coming to you with another episode of Starring Artists Visuals. This week's episode is going to be on the legendary, and I mean legendary, Harriet Tubman. We all know her from the Underground Railroad and getting slaves to freedom, and that's obviously just a huge part of our culture and our history, Harriet Tubman. We also have forgot about her being on that $20 bill. Now, like most of my episodes where you guys get to see a full painting completed, usually on each episode, that's not gonna be happening with this one. This is a huge painting. This is a 36 by 48 Harriet Tubman piece. So this is gonna be broken down into several, and I mean several episodes. Now this is also exciting because this is gonna be my first time using oils in a painting, and obviously using a 36 by 48 is a very brave way to start your oil painting career, but I'm gonna try anyways. Alright guys, for this Harriet Tubman piece, I'm going for a very warm, rich skin tone. So from the archives that I've seen and just reading different articles, Harriet Tubman was of a darker skin tone, but I also wanted this to be a very rich skin tone. So I always start when I'm doing skin tones, especially of a darker complexion individual, I always start with some burnt umber, and I'm just gonna gradually lighten these tones. So for this first color I'm using, I want it to be very rich, and so this is some purple red, but it's gonna be a very rich tone, and this is gonna be for my much darker areas. So I'm gonna add a good bit of this. Harriet Tubman is such a, you know, a great legendary figure in the black culture, in the black community of things. And as somebody who's, you know, young and 24 years old and just living in this time period that we're living in, it can be easy to forget about these revolutionary figures who change our dynamic in our world and our culture. So for me, it means everything to not only do paintings like this, but also to help younger generations and even my own generation remind you to remember, you know, the way of life we have it is because of figures like Harriet Tubman and so many others. So you know, I always love doing paintings of, you know, relatively known figures of today, but I also want to show my respects in my artwork with figures who should be embodied in a positive way, in a positive light at all times. And so I definitely wanted to do that with this piece. So the next color, try to go from dark to light. I'm gonna stick with the burnt umber. But the one thing I can tell you guys, so this being my first oil painting and sort of dabbling it with a little bit, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, man, I wanted to go ahead and try it out before I put this stuff on camera, because I was so curious about how this would turn out. But I really like what oils do. Oils give you the opportunity to explore. That's what I really love about oils. It gives you a chance to explore what you like, what you don't like. You can fix it. It's a forgiving medium. That's one thing I've really learned about it. It's a forgiving medium for you to play around and just figure out, you know, what works, what doesn't work. That's why I really like the oils. I'm using a little orange red. This really makes the colors pop. You don't need much of it, but that's what I really enjoy about oils so far. You know, it's a forgiving medium. The one thing that I've quickly realized also is that oils tend to, which I already said in my last video, they dry slow. And that is something that has been very challenging for me. Not because of the fact that I don't like it. The problem is when you've been painting with acrylics for such a long time, what you find yourself doing is you find yourself wanting to start the next layer very quickly. And so for me, that has been a very big challenge for me, is wanting to, I'm adding some Indian red from, I'm sorry, some alizarin crimson from, this is gonna really warm it up. But anyways, I tend to want to really go ahead and start the next layer, and I'm not able to. I have to wait 24 hours. I'm using a galkyd medium. This stuff is amazing. But this galkyd medium allows me to get my paintings dry within 24 hours. And then also the fat over lean principle. If you guys don't know what fat over lean is, essentially is adding more oil, more fat into your mix over time. So this is what I've been using, and this is Gamsol, and then it's galkyd. So this is actually working on layer number 3, so it's starting to become a lot thicker. But my first layer is mostly Gamsol and a little bit of galkyd.
Alright guys, so let's talk about some key takeaways from my first time oil painting. So the biggest thing that I was always obviously worried about was the actual paint. So first of all, I love oil painting. It's an easy transition from acrylics to me based off of how I was already painting with acrylics. I was typically always using a more liquid paint, and over the course of time I was gradually adding more heavy body acrylic paint to my work. And the concept of lean over fat is very similar. You're going to use more solvent, and over time you're going to use more of a fatty medium. Now let's talk about the paint. The paint itself, I'm using Winsor & Newton, and I'm also using my Artscape. Now I'm sure a lot of you already know Winsor & Newton is. It's like the OG of oil painting, alongside gambling. However, this is my Artscape. My Artscape is off of Amazon Prime. Get it 2 days early. Now I love my Artscape, and I'm gonna tell you why. First of all, this paint set has about 48 different colors. That is big time when you're trying to have a variety of colors for skin tones. You don't want to take a million days, or I'm being a bit exaggerative, but you don't want to spend a lot of time mixing color. My Artscape, this is a set of 48 tubes of 12 milliliter paint, and I'm just using it as like little hints. I might use, on here it has a gold, yellow, ochre, purple, red, Perusian blue. Like, they have so many colors that I can add to like just a hint, or just like just add something extra to it that, you know, you're trying to figure out what colors is he mixing in the paint. I'm able to use that with a variety of different colors, and I didn't have to spend that much money. Now, the other thing that I was honestly worried about was the overall process of painting and how I was going to mix my colors with my medium. So the first product that I am just in love with, honestly, at this point is galkyd. Galkyd is a medium that allows me to have my paintings dry within 24 hours. Now that is amazing because it allows me to get onto the next layer within the next day, which saves me time, helps me get money faster. It's just great. Now the solvent that I'm using is Gamsol. Gamsol is also in reference to acrylic, that is your water. Gamsol is a solvent that cleans your brushes. It also is able to thin out your paint. It's just a wonderful product. And lastly, it is the mixture of Gamsol and galkyd. With Gamsol and galkyd, it's very simple. You're gonna add more solvent in your beginning stages of paint, less of a fatty medium of galkyd, and then over time, you're gonna use less of that solvent, or absolutely pretty much no solvent, just the solvent that you already had in your container, and add more galkyd through the stages. So my first stage is going to be a lot of solvent, a little bit of galkyd, then it's going to be more galkyd, the same amount of solvent, and then it continues to gradually build over time to the point where you're using just strictly galkyd in your paint.
All right guys, in closing, pretty much oils are awesome. I'm so glad I changed over. It was the dark side, it's not the dark side anymore. It's very easy to use. I'm enjoying it so far. You guys are gonna continue to see more episodes of me gradually building onto this Harriet Tubman painting. So this is just beginning part one. I'll probably add to it. If you guys have any questions or comments about my process of painting, I hope that I made it super simple where you don't have to have any comments. But if there's something you're curious about or you're interested in going to oil painting yourself, just let me know. I'll be happy to answer any questions that I know for myself. Again, this is my first time doing oil painting, so I'm not trying to come off as an expert whatsoever. It's just, you know, we're going through this together. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Also, because I want to put some money in my pockets, guys, I have a website that sells prints, that sells original paintings. You don't want to give a bad Christmas gift this holiday season, do you? Go on my website and buy a print and support my business. With that being said, this is Javion Duncan with Starving Artist Visuals. Y'all have an amazing, amazing